say ya ho what ya see. Wababa ya sunsu mo huote. Ama wana what I know. Wadi konem abrenina. Konem di ay. Moja disiton kuni. Konem di ay. Konem di ay. Konem abrenina. Say ya ho what ya see. Ay, oh, my susuma warning. I'm a one what I know. What you couldn't, I bring you. Yeah, say the what you see. Wabama mi susuma warning. I'm a me on me time. But you couldn't, I bring you. Oh, Jesus. Oh, hallelujah. La brekaya bababe. Trane trasa Abraham chai. O nyame man kunti ayane di. Ona fo awuti ame na dai. So banya bre amma wurade. Banya bre wo mpaibo mu atoy wurade. Ai. So banya bre awonya afie nyankopɔ asɛm a na wananti asɛm ni ma. Esi ewurade emfa wo ma watamfo da. Hey. Ah baba. Oh baba. Mama. Mesisa ye ho wati asia.
Thank you for joining us. Yes. We're bringing you legal matters from the camp of justice and law solicitors. As soon as you join us, share the program for us. Yes.
Already morning was a down. Many, I would have the animal train. I didn't come in the boat. If you say, trying to say, or share a senior from the set on 3 Jerusalem and Pop. Because he said, one Sabaka Boshan. Now, or train the moon. Hey, Mimia, Pentecost Dana. Trying to say, who say we na mama. Now what can
share for us?
Now we share in Numa Akasia. Hallelujah.
Amen. Yes, today, what are we bringing you today? Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Last week was a blast. I've had a lot of feedback. People facing the same sort of situation back home in Ghana. And the advice that I gave, I believe it will go a long way to help a lot of people. Some people tried to call in. They couldn't get through because of time factor. And one or two that has also been brought to my attention. So today I will take the opportunity to advise people about how to secure your land in Ghana in particular. So I will talk briefly about it, and also registration and unregistration, lands that are registered and lands that are not registered. I will go ahead and talk about that. I will also be looking at the possibility how to secure your land. Once you purchase the land, especially if it is not fenced. These are practical advice that I will be giving to people based on my experience, dealing with property transactions since 2005. I have been in this field, list property transaction and landlord issues. I will say since 2004 up to present. is something that comes before me all the time. And one thing that I must also say is that Ghana law basically is based on UK law. You know, we'll feel differences every now and then, but in general, you know, the same principles apply in the UK. For example, if you talk about adverse possession rules, then of course the same principles apply. When it comes to leasehold properties, freehold properties, you know, the same principles apply. So I have fair knowledge of that, and also the fact that I have, you know, been enrolled as a solicitor of Supreme Court of Ghana, and also barrister of Supreme Court of Ghana since 2014. Has also given me the legitimacy, you know, to be talking about this type of issues even in Ghana, because I am, you know, dually qualified in terms of the law, both in Ghana and the UK. So today we will be looking at that as well. If you've joined us, please do share the program for us. I am sharing the program as I speak, and I believe that by also sharing it, you will be helping to educate people. So whilst I'm sharing the program, I will play this tune so that will give me a bit of time to be able to share the program to the fullest. I believe that, you know, if we all share it, we'll be doing our bit for our community. So by all means, today we have various areas that we are going to be talking about. We will also be talking about customary divorces and its recognition in the United Kingdom. Over the past couple of weeks, and I would say years, some people have brought their cases, and unfortunately, even though they are divorced in Ghana under Ghanaian customary law, I had to then advise them to also divorce in the UK. Some people thought I was mad, for me to be suggesting that. I understand, because why would you divorce again if you have already been divorced in Ghana? Today we'll be looking at it, why there is a need to do that, by looking at Section 46 of the Family Law Act of 1986. I know and I believe, but by the time we finish off today's program, we get a better understanding as to why Lawyer Darkon, for one, insists that even if you have done a divorce in Ghana through the informal means, that is through customary means, then of course you also have to then basically divorce in the United Kingdom if you don't want to have any problems in inviting your partners, your spouses to come and join you in the United Kingdom. Once again, we will also be looking at naturalization, who can act as a referee, and also how to apply and the need to apply. I will give examples of cases where people thought indefinite is the same as naturalization, and therefore there is no need to go and waste your money. What people normally say is, what is the point? So if you look at today's catchphrase, we say, what is the point, with a question mark. We work in the field of, and sometimes we will say we have seen a lot. We have seen a lot of people who have if you like who have not naturalized, and one or two, before you know, they're facing a deportation from the United Kingdom. And people normally say that it's not fair. The person has been living in the United Kingdom for so many years. How can you deport such a person? We all know that about 3-4 years ago, our own brother, Mr. Kweku Adiboli, who was working for the Swiss bank, and things went down south. And at the end of the day, he was imprisoned, and following his prison sentence, he was then deported to Ghana. A lot of people, were saddened, surprised, shocked as to why this would happen. My own gut feeling is that if he had applied for British citizenship and he was also a British citizen, I suspect that the situation would have been different. So all that I say to you is, if you have the chance to apply for British citizenship, I don't see why not. So we'll be looking at that, and also cases where people, they came here as youngsters, as children, they've been holding indefinite leave for over 20 years. They have not bothered to apply to become British. And now they've been involved in crime. Some of them are in prison as we speak. And Secretary of State have served them with notice of intention to deport. And you know, when it comes to that, it makes it very, very difficult for any lawyer that take on such a case. But we will be looking at some more examples, and hopefully it will be a motivation. It will encourage you to apply. You know, there is a saying that no one was born to be a criminal, but society made him so. So we will be looking at that today, and the importance of, you know, basically applying for British citizenship. Also, we will be looking at how to use power of attorney in Ghana. Last week we spoke about this, and people are still ringing me and asking questions about something that we discussed, we talked about last week. So it looks to me that people did not get it, or perhaps they want another show on this. So briefly, I will summarize it, and hopefully it will be clear to a lot of our listeners. Then we will also look at powers of immigration officers. As we all know, last week as I was doing the show, I had to apologize to you because I kept getting phone calls non-stop. I did not know how urgent it was. And later on, when I look at the consistency and the bombardment of the telephone call, I thought, hold on, I need to answer this. And when I answered it, this is a client who was detained, who had just been detained, you see. And as the lawyer in charge of the case, I had to do something. And one thing that I will also say is that everything that we do, we also learn a lesson from it. And I am glad that through my intervention, the person was released. I'm also glad that he contacted me. You see, sometimes when it's urgent and you call, the lawyer may be doing something else which may also be urgent. But on this particular occasion, when I was doing the live show and the phone calls kept coming in, I was torn between continuing the show or to answer the telephone call. And thank God the person was smart and sharp enough. When he realized that the telephone calls I wasn't able to answer, as supposed to I am failing or refusing to answer, the person sent a text message. Lawyer Darko, it's urgent. My wife has been detained. So straight away, when I saw the message, I had to pause on the show last week. And I do apologize that I had to basically dash off, come back, dash off, come back, dash off, come back. It's because someone was arrested. And despite the fact that I was live on air, I also had to, do something. And the little that advice that I was able to give whilst I was still on air, the wife was able to be set free. And this takes me to the powers of the immigration officials. What powers do they have against your right as an individual and your right as a citizen? We will be looking at this as well. So very, very interesting powers of immigration officers, whether they have the power to force you to be part or to take part in an interview at the airport, especially when you are bringing your wives, when you are bringing your husbands, your fiancés, and maybe your family members for a visit. We will be looking at this today as well. We will also talk slightly about leasehold and freehold. Some people still want me to talk about this, so I will. So I'm gonna play this tune, and then when we come back, we continue the program. I will encourage everyone, I will urge everyone to share the program for us, because last week when I checked, because of the fact that you partake in the program, the figures that I'm getting from Facebook is brilliant, it's fantastic. As at this morning, I've seen 5K, 5,000. 5,000. We have reached over 5,000 people because of the role that you played. And YouTube, I haven't checked the figures this morning, but at least we are making headways as well. And I will say I thank you for the part that you play in educating people through legal matters, which is brought to you by Justice and Law Solicitors of 35B, The Link, 49 Efrat Road, Brixton, London, SW2 1BZ. Our telephone number, you can see it on the screen, was 0207 993 5976, and our mobile emergency number is 07 538 969 589. You can contact us Monday to Friday from 9:30 in the morning to 5:30 in the evening UK time, and we thank you for your continued support.
Okay, Joe Bump on you. Ghana, win some money. I feel being in my son, I'm a champion in your boat. Yeah, and I don't know, maybe I'm someone I'm more. Now the woman, you're one sweet, I'm a gun and I'm sorry. You're so lovely. Let us celebrate and appreciate this year. What I did and any other day, 'cause I'm way out there. I'm way out there. So let me can answer me. I don't know. About to pay. And I'm the world was so dark and void. He called our light out of darkness. He saw it was cute and nice. Into a toss of what dear. A boy, man, a man, I catch you. They are the better side of men and the good side of life. Only me, I can. So
Mothers of the universe, enjoy your day. Well done.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's start the program. Once again, we are very, very grateful for your support and for your referrals. May the anointing of Yahweh be upon you all, and thank you for your prayers and for your continued support. Without that support, we will not be able to do this program for the past at least 12 years. The kindness of strangers is something that for me will always touch my soul, will always touch my heart. It's not easy for someone to go out of their way to do something for you or to help you in any way. But strangers have come to my rescue at the point of need throughout my journey called life. So I thank you all. Through your prayers, through your referrals, through your physical support, and you name it. And days like this, it's always good to remember people who have been, I would say, positive influence in your life. The gown that I'm wearing today, as you can see, this is a gown for solicitors for the Supreme Court of England and Wales. This is our official uniform. And I do remember this was given to me by my supervisor when I was doing my training contract back in the year 2004, 2005. His name is Paul Joseph Verkrisen, and is someone that I will never forget. He taught me a lot, and I was going through my stuff during the course of the week, and I saw this gown, and I thought, wow, I still have this gown. I don't think I will let it go. I think I'm going to hold on to it for the rest of my life, because it was a gesture that will always and forever be with me. I do remember after qualifying in 2007, I was going to buy one, and he said, David, don't worry, I've got one, and I thought, you got one? How? He's been keeping this from 1975. That is when he qualified, and he bought it, and he kept it all those years, and he passed this on to me in 2007. Wow, what a history. And I have also had it from 2007 to what's the we are now in 2022. So roughly speaking, about 15 years now. So this gown, really, if you look at the age, you are looking at about 47, 48 years old. If I don't tell you, how would you know? It still look top notch. It's making me feel a bit emotional. And it's one of those. Do good. That's what I can say. And your name will forever remain. That's why they say that the tongue never lies or never dies. Because now, today, I am mentioning the name here. I can only hope that one day I can also pass it on to someone and the person will keep that going. It's just a beautiful story. And I will forever be grateful to him, especially in my professional life. It's been very, very influential. And also the training that he gave me. When I was doing my training, I said, if I am only able to learn half of the stuff that he knows, I think I will be fine. Because everything that he did it to perfection. And as a result, I learned a lot from you. And it hasn't done me bad, has it? You be the judge of that. So do good. I always say this, do good and think good. The Lord Almighty will bless you in so many different ways. I am blessed beyond imagination. And I count myself very, very lucky. Right. Now let's go to the program. This is called Legal Matters, brought to you by Justice and Law Solicitors. Madam Helen Pamford, good morning, wherever you are. Mr. John Techi, what is the point? Churchill, baby, I will be. And then, what are we going to be talking about? Right. Where do we start? It's an interesting, let's start from somewhere so that we end somewhere. Today, I think I will start by British citizenship, who can act as a referee, and the need to apply for British passport or British citizenship, as long as you qualify. So, British citizenship, I must say, is a privilege. It is not right. It is not entitlement, you see. You can qualify for British citizenship. Home Office will still refuse you, especially if your character is questionable. And when they say your character is questionable, either you have criminal offense or perhaps you have conducted yourself in such a way that any reasonable person will question your character, or any reasonable person will presume that you are a bad person. And therefore, character test is one of the key criteria when the Home Office is assessing whether individual qualifies for British citizenship or not. There was a policy in place before September this year where Home Office will have to look at the individual's character for the past 10 years before making decisions. Individual's character for the past 10 years before making decisions. And therefore, what do they do? Especially those who have overstayed. So you come into this country, maybe you have overstayed your visa, maybe you have breached conditions of your visa. Maybe you did not come here with a visa. That's legal entry, overstaying, or absconding. If this is the tarnish, i.e., if this is the problem in terms of doing the character's assessment, then since September, Home Office have come back with a new policy. And now the policy is that Home Office have to look at the last 5 years. But the other requirements that we have talked about last week, last 2 weeks, you still have to satisfy those requirements. So for example, my name is, let's say Nana Jankroma the First is the name. You have entered the United Kingdom as a student. For example, whilst you are a student, you did not attend the school. So the Home Office have been notified by the school that you have not been attending classes. When it happens like that, Home Office may proceed to revoke your visa, i.e. to cancel your visa. Let's say during the process, whilst the Home Office was about to cancel your visa, you were able to find Mr. Isaac as an example. And Mr. Isaac was interested. You started dating. And through the dating, you receive a letter from the Home Office that, for example, your visa has been cancelled. Okay. Now your visa has been cancelled, and therefore at that point, you become an overstayer. You have a child, Nana Jankrumah I and Mr. Isaac have a child, or since the cancellation of a visa, they've had a child. They come to see Lawyer Darko for deliverance, to rescue the situation. I said, don't worry. Once the child is British, I'll be able to help you. Lawyer Darko do an application for Nana Jankrumah I. Application is successful. Nana Jankrumah I is granted a 2.5 years visa on a 10-year route. Lawyer Darko, as clever as I am, I say, you know what? 10-year route is too long. So let's be smart and cut it to 5 years. So we then apply on the basis of being maybe in a relationship as a partner, or perhaps, as the main carer of the child that is born. So the visa is then converted to a 5-year visa. Following completion of 5 years, the question is therefore, can Nana Jankrumah I apply for British citizenship? Knowing that in the past 6 years, there has been a breach of the immigration rules by overstaying following the cancellation of a visa. Before September, the answer is no. After September, the answer is yes. Why am I saying that? Because there have been a change in Home Office policy. Now, if you are doing an application, Home Office have to go back 5 years. So the criteria is as follows. If you have indefinite leave to remain, excuse me, if you have indefinite leave to remain, the Home Office will have to go back 5 years to make sure that within that 5 years, you have not breached the immigration rules by overstaying, you have not absconded, and you have not been an illegal immigrant for the past 5 years. And therefore, in this particular case, once she has obtained indefinite leave following 5 years lawful residence in the UK, despite the fact that she has overstayed or breached the terms of his visa conditions in the last 6 years, she can still apply for British citizenship. Of course, there are other requirements. You need to pass the Life in the UK test, and you also need to pass the English test to acceptable standard. There are exemptions to the Life in the UK test and the English test. If you are under 18 years of age, you don't have to do the Life in the UK test. If you are over 65 years of age, you don't have to do the Life in the UK test and the English test. But if you are aged between 18 to 64, 65, you must do the English test and the Life in the UK test. Unless, of course, you complete medical exemption. Medical exemption is where you need to go and see your doctor, and your doctor will have to probably do an assessment, and the doctor will then have to conclude that due to your medical condition, you cannot sit and pass the Life in the UK test and the English test. But I must say this. It is not something that as soon as you send it to the Home Office, they will simply accept it. That is not the case. Home Office have a discretion. I have come across cases where similar report, a caseworker have accepted it, and another case, very, very similar report, Home Office said they don't care. The applicant have to go and sit the exams. So all that I say to you is this. Where there is discretion, don't expect consistency. That is what that may have said to you. Because at the end of the day, once you give someone a discretion, people will use discretions differently. So if Yah has managed to get medical exemption and Yah was successful, do not think that if Kweku used the same thing, Kweku is going to succeed. We must bear this in mind, because sometimes we like making comparisons, like for like, without also taking into consideration the caseworker who is going to look at the case, and also how the person is going to exercise the discretion. It's very, very important. To apply for naturalization, you have to be 18 years of age, must be of a sound mind. Life in the UK test, English test, and you must also have a referee, and the referee must be someone over the age of 25, and must also be someone with good character. The person cannot be your relative, and the person cannot be your lawyer either. And one of them have to be British national. The other referee can be any nationality. So you need two people to stand in for you as your referee. It's very, very, very important. You need two people to stand in for you as your referee. The referees will provide their personal details to complete the application forms, and the referee will also have to sign a declaration to confirm that they know you for at least 3 years and that you are a person of a good character. The question therefore is, who must apply for naturalization? Once you get your indefinite leave, for me, as soon as you can, apply. There are different rules for adult naturalization, which is covered by British Nationality Act of 1981, Section 6.1 and Section 6.2. Section 6.1 deals with those people who have obtained their indefinite through other means, apart from being married to a British national. And Section 6.2 of British Nationality Act look at those people who have obtained their leave through their marriage to a British national. The rules are very similar. The only difference is the residential requirement. If you are looking at Section 6.2, those married to British nationals, as soon as you get your indefinite and you can prove that you have been residing in the UK legally for 3 years, you qualify. And definitely, since the change of the rules to 5 years before you can get indefinite, even if you are married to a British national, by the time you get your indefinite, you have already completed the 3 years, and therefore you don't have to wait any longer. Because if you manage to do the English test and the Life in the UK test, to secure your indefinite, as soon as you get it, the next day, you must as well move on and apply for British citizenship. Someone may say, what is the point of applying for British citizenship? Is there a need to apply for British citizenship? Different people may have different views, may have different opinions. And for me, you need to respect everyone's opinion. Everyone has got a right to make certain decisions, and everyone has got a right to do whatever they want. But Lawyer Darko, from experience and things that I have seen, cases that has come before me, I always advise people, if at all possible, try and apply for British citizenship as well. Some of us may say, what is the point? What is the point of applying for British citizenship? Last week, I spoke about a scenario where I said, if I'm looking for money and I want to make a lot of money, I don't think I'll go to a poor man to teach me how to make money. Why would I say that? Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because if the poor man has got ideas and has got the means, I don't think he will continue to be poor. But the rich man is tried and tested. He's been able to hustle to make money. And therefore, on the balance of probabilities, he is more likely to be able to guide you and offer you possibly the best advice on how to make money. Same thing applies here. Those people that I hear saying, what is the point? What is the point? When you ask them whether they have a British passport, the answer that I normally get is no. Then I ask myself, if your answer is no, how would you know the importance of having something that you don't have? You have never had it from the first place. So how would you know that it's not important, it's not relevant? So it's very, very important for me, if someone is advising you, if someone is saying something to you, you really need to think about what the person is saying and ask yourself, is he qualified to give you such advice? If he is not, you are a man of yourself, and therefore you can make the right decision for yourself. But I still stand the point that British passport is very important. If you qualify, waste no time. Get in touch with Justice and Law Solicitors, and we can help you to apply and obtain your British citizenship. Now, let's look at some practical examples. If I'm holding British passport and I'm going to the European Union, do I need a visa? The answer is no. If you don't have a British passport and you are traveling through European Union, you will need a visa. So, example, if I'm traveling to Ghana from the UK and I decide to buy a ticket from another airline that goes through Netherlands, example, Schiphol Airport, and then to Ghana, I have to transit through one European country before going to Ghana, and I do not have a British passport, I will have to apply for a Schengen visa before I can use the airline to travel to Ghana, because now we are out of the European Union. So all the privilege that we were able to travel through another European country and then to Ghana, because of our association with European family member since our departure from the European Union, that privilege is also gone. And therefore, if you are coming to the UK from Ghana and you have to travel through another European country to come to the UK and vice versa, you will then also have to get a visa before you can travel to that country. Let's compare that to someone who has also got a British passport. If you have a British passport, you don't have to go through all this trauma. You can simply use your British passport when you get to maybe Schiphol Airport to enter, because there is an arrangement between the United Kingdom and the European Union among its citizens. So therefore, if I have a Ghana passport as well as British passport, I can use it interchangeably between the borders. So what I would then do is to use my British passport, which I am allowed to enter Schiphol Airport. And then from there, I am also allowed to show my Ghana passport to show that I am a Ghanaian national. And therefore, I don't need a visa to enter Ghana. And therefore, I can then use both passports to enter Ghana. So this is one of the advantages that you will gain over someone who has decided that there is no point in applying for British passport. This is one example. The second example that I will give is, let's look at the airport. when you are coming back after your holidays, after you have spent all your money and broke, let's look at what happened. On your way back, after 6-hour journey, after 10-hour journey, after 12-hour journey, depending on which part of Ghana that you went, you get to Heathrow Airport, and you will have British citizens on one side, and you will have the others, that is other nationals. You have your British passport. As soon as you get to the gate, you put it there, you stare at the screen, and your iris is taken. Pa! As soon as it's connected, the door, the gate gets wide open, and you go through. Self-checkout. Now let's look at our brothers and sisters, the so-called others, on the side. The queue is from Chibi all the way to Mountain Afajato. It's not easy. So the queue is huge. After all this hustle and the palaver, the money issue, you also have to come and join this long queue. And when you are joining this long queue too, by the time that you are seen, your passport is flipped inside out. Where did you go and why and this and that and that and that. You are mashed up. And sometimes you are also subjected to unnecessary interrogation. Is that what we want? Maybe that's what some people want. Maybe some people have not thought about that. So maybe from today, what is the point is going to change to there is a point. That is why we are here to educate. So this is 2 examples. Now, let's look at the 3rd example. I am a firm believer there is a theory in sociology. The founder of functionalism is called Emile Durkheim. Emile Durkheim, who was a French philosopher. Functionalism is the theory. And what he has stated in his writings, even including suicide, his studies about suicide, why people kill themselves. For functionist theories, there is a firm belief that everything that happens is functional. It must happen. That is the reason why it happens. And it serves a purpose, including suicide. It may sound crazy. What is not meant to be will never happen. So we need to understand this philosophy. So for him, everything that happens has got a function to play and to play in our society, because without that incident, society will not function properly, which is understandable to some extent. So, what I want to say is this. If, for example, Oba Hiwa is holding a British passport, and Mr. Benjamin Opoku is not holding a British passport, and they go to look for work, they go to look for a job, do you think that it can play a part as to who the employer will employ? Even though there is a law against discrimination on grounds of nationality. But let's be real. Let's be realistic. Let's cut the icing and go straight to the cake. You yourself, you need to ask yourself that you are a manager of a company. You are employing 2 people with identical skills, identical qualification. One of them is British, the other one is the other. Who would you employ? Take it into consideration. that if you employ someone who has got limited leave, for example, or even indefinite leave, and with all the restrictions and the obligations that has been put on employers by the Home Office, do you think most of employers would want to go through the hell of filling this form, doing copies, and complying with Home Office requirement about working with foreigners? The annual checks, bring your passport, where is your share code? Even if you have indefinite, where is your biometric residency permit card? All the hassle that employers get. Personally, I can't prove it, but being a human being as well, there is every chance that nobody wants to go through the hassle of complying with Home Office requirements in addition to the job that they have to do as well. So the chances of someone holding a British passport gaining advantage when it comes to the employment sector, personally, one can conclude, arguably, he will be more preferred than someone holding a foreign passport. Sometimes someone will say, how do you prove this? It's my personal view. I can't prove it. But let's apply common sense here. If you're employing and you have this sort of scenario, what would you do? So it can also put you advantage. And in fact, there are certain jobs that is also preserved for British citizens. If you're not British, those type of jobs, it's called sensitive jobs. If you don't have a British passport, you cannot apply. If you are going to America, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and you are holding British passport, it's also one of the most powerful passports in the world to carry. It can also put you in an advantage. So we need to think about that. Now, the fourth point, which is more serious, on a serious note, is crime. It's crime. No one was born to be a criminal, but society made him so. Society make individual, sometimes situations, sometimes forgetfulness, and this can happen to anyone and everyone. Just recently, it happened to me. Maybe I was lucky enough not to be confronted by an inspector. And I'm going to share this with you. And I hope it will motivate and encourage you that when the opportunity arises, you need to step up and do it and get yourself out of that situation. Now, I have some cases before me that people are facing deportation because of confidential issues. I cannot go too much details into these cases. But I think it's important that I bring it to the fold and give examples. Hopefully, it will touch someone. Maybe it will prevent someone from being in a situation that he wouldn't or she wouldn't want to be, by the examples that I'm going to give. Now, we have the hostile environment introduced by Theresa May when she was the Home Secretary. And it seems that it has been carried on by subsequent Home Secretaries and subsequent Prime Ministers since 2010, when the Tory came to power with the Liberal Democrats, the coalition government, and up to now, that is what a lot of people are facing. There is a law that if you are a foreigner, i.e. you don't have British citizenship, and you are living in the United Kingdom and you commit a crime and they impose at least 12 months imprisonment, 12 months prison sentence, whether suspended or imprisonment, then you'll be subjected to deportation order. You will be subjected to deportation. As I speak to you, I have a case right now that someone is facing deportation. Some people are facing deportation. Not that they don't have papers to stay in this country. They have papers to stay in this country. One of the cases, the person has been living here for so long as a child. The person is got indefinite. Unfortunately, the parent did not bother to apply for the child's British passport when the child was a child. Now, he is grown up to be a man. Unfortunately, either through ignorance or through stupidity or through arrogance. What is the point? Those what is the point people? Hold tight. Because when the Lord catches you, you will see the point, but it may be too late. So this gentleman, after living here for 24 years, came into this country as a child of 2, holding indefinite for over 15 years. After growing up to be a man, either through ignorance or through what is the point, or through stinginess, he did not also apply for British citizenship. Now let's look at the scenario. A boy will be a boy, a guy will be a guy. You go to a party, everyone is enjoying himself. Sometimes people drink at a party, they can get drunk. Or sometimes they are sober. See a girl who is attractive, approach the girl, and what transpires between them is up to them. And all of a sudden, there is an allegation of rape. As to whether there was a rape or whether just an allegation. When it happens like that, one thing about rape as a criminal offense or as an offense is a very difficult thing, because it normally happens between 2 people where there is no third party to witness what actually happened. So if you are accused of rape and you are convicted of a rape, it's an indictable offense. And if you are convicted, prison is a must. The punishment is imprisonment, and therefore you will be jailed. Once you are jailed, the sentence is normally more than a year. So you will be subjected to automatic deportation on your release. Even where there has been a prison sentence of less than 1 year, for public grounds, the Secretary, Public Safety and Public Grounds, the Secretary of State can still remove you from the United Kingdom on the basis that you are a danger to the UK public. So one have to be very, very careful. Once you are a foreigner and you are convicted of a serious offense, a serious crime, massa, it's very easy. Deportation or removal. You are looking at one of these choices. But if you have a British citizenship, the situation changes. And as I speak to you, people are getting deported every day on the basis of being a foreign criminal. Some of these people have indefinite leave. Some of these people came here as youngsters. So if you're a parent and you are watching, you are listening to me this afternoon, this morning, you must also take it as a priority to make sure that your children, when they come in with indefinite leave to enter and so on and so forth, after 5 years under Section 6(1), please encourage them to also apply for British citizenship. Normally, people will say that, but I am not a criminal. I will not commit criminal offense. And therefore, that should not be a case for me to answer. But people must also realize that in life, there are people in prison who are innocent of the crimes that they have been accused of committing. Sometimes in law, we have different types of evidence, confession evidence, and we have something called circumstantial evidence, where your circumstances can place you in a crime scene and you could end up being convicted of a criminal offense. Typical example is Mr. Tete in Ghana. I hope that people have watched that clip. This is a gentleman. Someone committed a murder. Mr. Tete knew nothing about it. The person got beat so bad, they told him that this crime, there is no way that you have been able to commit this crime by yourself. There must be accomplice. And if you don't mention the name of the accomplice, we are going to kill you. Out of the beating, out of the pain, the guy just mentioned the name Mr. Tete. Mr. Tete got arrested, sent to prison, in Sawan prison, for about 30 years. When the man came out of prison, his wife is being chopped by his friend. That they have had about 4 children. Life is one big road and is full of signs. When you hit the rut, don't complicate your mind. Like Bob Marley say, when I heard the sound of the whip, my blood started running cold. I remember the way they brutalized my very soul. So the reality is that you never know when the whip will start cracking. When the whip will start cranking. When the whip will start shouting. Don't wait until you are accused of a crime. Don't wait until you are sentenced. Don't wait until something goes wrong before you start saying, had I known. Had I known, I say, is the philosophy of a fool. We don't wait for something that has happened to someone to happen to us before we learn a lesson. Personally, we look at other people's experiences and we learn. Anything can happen to anyone at any given moment. Sometimes you might not have the intention to commit a crime, but you can find yourself in a situation where a crime will be committed unintentionally. Just recently, I was traveling to Croydon, and I was rushing. I went to Wimbledon, and I had to get a tram. I used my card to touch from where I live to Wimbledon. And then from Wimbledon to get a tram, they have this little stand there that I was supposed to swipe my card again. The tram is about to move. I totally forgot, so I rushed onto the tram. The tram started moving. All of a sudden, I saw a sign there talking about inspectors coming to the tram, and that makes sure that you have purchased the right ticket for your journey and so on and so forth. All of a sudden, my brain began to kind of rush, thinking, oh my God, I did not touch. If inspector come in and grab me, what will be my excuse? So straight away, the next stop, I had to jump out, go and swipe, and then wait for the next tram. You know, this is some of the things that can happen to people, can happen to someone easily. Imagine that I was on a tram inspector come in and said, Mr. Darko, can I see your ticket? I don't have a ticket. How did you pay for the tram? Oh, sorry, I forgot. I was rushing. I believe that it's an excuse that they have heard over and over and over and over. And therefore, for that reason, I don't think he will buy that excuse. So he may proceed to bring action against me. And if I'm lucky, he's simply going to ask me to pay. And then that will be it. So these are some of the things that could happen to anyone. One time I was watching a video clip where someone was riding a bike on the pavement. And this old man was telling the guy off, why are you riding your bike on the pavement instead of the road? The biker's friend that he was with got angry and hit the old man on his chest. The old man collapsed, and from the clip, he died subsequently. What do you think is going to happen to this gentleman? It's very clear that he may not have the mens rea, which is the mind, the intention to kill this man. But the actus rea can be established, i.e. the act of hitting is in no dispute. But the mind, the mens res, did he have the intention to kill this man? I doubt it very much. However, if you kill someone, i.e. and you do not have the intention of killing the person, you are not going to get away with it. Whilst you may not be convicted of murder, you could be convicted of manslaughter. Manslaughter. And if you are convicted of manslaughter, it's an indictable offense still. It's a serious offense, and you will be going to jail for that. And if you're a foreigner, you don't have British citizenship, after your jail sentence, what is going to happen to you? It's a plane ticket one way to Kotoka International Airport, Accra, Ghana. Or perhaps Murtala International Airport in Nigeria. Or Monroe Airport in Monrovia. So these are some of the things that are happening to people. And it's for this reason that today I felt that we also have to cover this in some way. So that is what I'm going to say about naturalization. If you want to apply, get in touch with Justice and Law Solicitors. We will be happy to send you all the requirements by WhatsApp, by email, you name it. And then all that you need to do is to get everything ready. Like Mr. got his ready this week, came in and got himself sorted. He knows who I'm talking about. What is the point? You know what I mean, Mr. What is the point? There is a point. There is a point to life. There is a point to naturalization. Hurry up, step up, and stand up. Because this country, things change all the time. Now, we are going to have a new Home Secretary again. We don't know what he's going to bring. So I will say to you, if at all possible, and you qualify, waste no time. Do it as fast as you can, so that you get yourself sorted. That is all that I will say. So that will be that. The second area that I will talk about is divorce. Divorce. Many people have the view that why do a divorce in Ghana? Why do a divorce in the UK if we were married in Ghana? It's a good question, and I get the point. Because naturally, if you married in Ghana, then it makes sense to divorce in Ghana. You know, I do get it. So, people may decide to do that. Now, the question is, if you divorce in Ghana, is it automatically recognized in the United Kingdom? Does the UK accept your divorce certificate automatically? Some will say yes, some will say no, but it would depend on the type of divorce certificate that you are holding. I'm going to explain this from Ghana law so that people understand it. In Ghana, we have 3 types of marriage. We have the civil marriage, which most people will refer to as the court marriage. 2, we also have the Mohammedan marriage, which most people will refer to as the Islami marriage. And then we have the customary marriage, which people may refer to as the traditional marriage. All these marriages are recognized and acceptable under the 1992 Constitution, Ghana law. So, now, in respect to the civil marriage, that is where they will give you a marriage certificate. It's white and green, and it's like it's tough paper. They use hard paper to do it. So that is the civil marriage, and on top of it, you will see cap 127. And you will have the customary marriage, which is made up of too many different papers. You have the affidavit from family members. You have the form of marriage registrar. You have the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Justice. Attestation, all put together to form the customary marriage. And then you have the Mohammedan marriage, which is very similar to the customary marriage. Under Ghana Constitution, they are all marriage which is recognized under Ghana law. The question is, when a divorce takes place, how do you divorce? How do you divorce? The law in Ghana is that the very means that you use to do the marriage, you use the same means to divorce. So that means customary marriage is an informal marriage where family members will come together, perform rituals to our ancestors and our gods, and then put the 2 families together. Similar happened in Mohammedan marriage. And then we have the civil marriage, where you need to attend a licensed building. Sometimes it can be a church. Sometimes you need to go to the council, which is the local authority, either being Kumasi City Council, Accra City Council, Secondly, Takoradi City Council. These days they are called Metropolitan Assembly. And an official will do what? Will officiate the marriage. And once it is done, they will give you a civil marriage certificate. So if you opt for a customary marriage or Mohammedan marriage, it's an informal means, and then when you are divorcing, you use informal means to divorce, and then you go to the district where the marriage was registered and you get a divorce certificate. If you do civil marriage, if you want to divorce, you go through the court. Not informal means. You go through the court and you get your divorce certificate. Now, the question is, both divorce certificates, which one will be recognized by the UK? Now, we need to look at Section 46(2) and Section 46(1) of the Family Law Act of 1986. And what it says is that if you bring a foreign divorce to the Home Office. And when they are making assessment, they will have to do what? They will have to look at the divorce certificate and check whether it was obtained through court proceedings, which is section 46(1). If a foreign divorce was obtained through court proceedings, then the UK will automatically accept it because it has gone through court proceedings. However, if it does not go through court proceedings and is through informal means, the UK will only accept it if certain conditions can be satisfied. What are the conditions? That means one of the parties have to be a national of the country that issued the divorce certificate. So you need to ask yourself, if you are holding a foreign divorce certificate and it was not obtained through court proceedings, was one of you a national of that country? If the answer is yes, ce n'est pas problème. 2. The second requirement is that the parties to the marriage must be living in that country 12 months before the pronouncement of the divorce or before the marriage came to an end through informal means. You then need to ask yourself, were you and was your ex-partner living in that country 12 months before you got your divorce certificate? If the answer is yes, no problem. The third requirement: does the law of that country accept the divorce certificate? If the answer is yes, then your foreign divorce certificate, whether through formal or informal proceedings, will be recognized by the United Kingdom. But the problem that we have come across is whereby one of the parties will be living in the UK throughout the divorce proceedings, the informal divorce proceedings. So if Home Office pick this up and they start asking questions and you are unable to provide it, then that is it. So it's not good for us to compare ourselves to others. Don't say that, but Kwame submitted the same thing and it has been accepted. Ask yourself, was Kwame living in that country for 12 months before the pronouncement of the divorce? So if you are comparing yourself to someone, then also make sure that obviously your situation is the same as Kwame's situation, because you cannot compare yourself to Kwame like for like. However, your circumstances are different. It's very, very important. So I always say this: never compare yourself to someone, because there is an arcane adage that what damages someone's house improves someone else's. So it's not good to make that direct comparisons, because you don't know what the person had to do to get it accepted by the Home Office. So we need to be aware of this, because a lot of time people call you, and when you try to explain, many a times they try to make direct comparisons, which is neither here or there. So we need to watch out for that. Now let's switch to powers of the immigration officers and immigration officials. It's very, very important. And when we finish that, we go to Ghana and then cover what we've spoken about last week and some of the things that we can do to watch people, to help people, to also to protect their lands in Ghana, and also to fight for their lands in Ghana, because many a times, we hear stories, people from Montpellier, France, people from Angoulême in France, people from Paris in France, they call us some of the difficulties that they are having back home. So, justice and law, we are international. We are everywhere. So, Mr. Erica Ken, good afternoon to you. And thank you for tuning in. I believe that, you are going to share the program to all your French contenders so that they can also benefit from today's program, because it's not only about UK. We are also going to cover Ghana law, and for people to know their rights and also have to protect their interest in Ghana, especially when it comes to land issue. So thank you very much for joining us. Today is Saturday. Someone will say Samedi soir. Yeah, bon d'accord. Bibi adeku. So, that is what we're going to do. So now let's look at powers of the immigration officials. What can they do? What they do. It's very, very important that we understand this. Home Office. When we say Home Office, they manages immigration control. And there are several different directorates or groups within the Home Office who are responsible for different things. And these include the following. We have the United Kingdom Immigration and Visas, which is the UKVI. They are responsible for considering applications from migrants to come to the UK or to remain in the United Kingdom. So we need to understand the role that they play. And we also have caseworkers, that is in country, those Home Office nationals that do internal applications. They consider the applications and they make the decisions as to whether someone should be granted leave to remain, indefinite leave to remain, or whether someone should be deported from the United Kingdom. So that is how it is. It's very, very important that we understand this. What are their powers? The Home Office. What powers do they have? Home Office have various powers, or the UKVI various powers, and their powers develop all the time. So it depends on which Home Secretary is around. Which Home Secretary is giving them the powers. Because under Section 71 of the Immigration Act of 1971, it gives, under the Immigration Act of 1971, Section 1 going, gives the Secretary of State a lot of powers in which he can delegate to the Home Office to enforce certain controls and powers for immigration control. So some of their powers are as follows. They have the right to detain you if they believe that you have been in breach of the immigration rules, you have absconded, you don't have the right documentation to be in the United Kingdom, and so on and so forth. They also have the right to interview you if you are coming into the country and for one reason or the other, they have reasonable suspicion to suspect that either you have been involved in an immigration fraud or you have used deception to obtain a visa, and so on and so forth. So they can also interview you. Can they remove you? They have the power to remove you, detain you. And they have the power to grant you bail as well. However, people also have to know their right as an individual and also as a human being and a citizen. Oh, Lord have mercy. So we need to be aware of this. When coming into the country, Home Office is their job to control who comes in and who doesn't through immigration control. So now, when you get the visa from outside the United Kingdom to come to the UK, we must not assume that the Home Office have automatic, or once you get a visa, you have the automatic right to do what? To come to the UK. The visa is permission. You have been granted permission to come to the UK. However, it does not guarantee that you'll be allowed entry. So what I will say is this: once you get a visa, you have to be aware, you have to be conscious that you can still be denied entry to the United Kingdom. You need to be aware that having a visa does not guarantee your entry. When you get to the airport, the Home Office have the power to do what? They have the power to interview you. But the question that I say to you, is it forced? Do you have to subject yourself to be interviewed? It's a dilemma. It's a catch-22 situation. On one hand, they have the power to do an interview. But as an individual, are you obligated to respond to the interview? Are you obligated to do what? To partake in an interview? For me, the answer is no. Though, if you refuse to do an interview, they can make an inference that since you are refusing to do the interview, then it supports their suspicion. But the question is, can they determine that that alone is enough to deport someone? We had an experience last week where the Home Office were pushing to interview someone who was trying to enter into the country. All the same, in the end, the interview did not take place because the person was able to defend himself. I'm not going to say too much on this. However, it's something that people have to be aware of. Home Office have got the right to request for an interview. Personally, before you can interview someone, or if you want to interview someone, I think it's only fair that you give the person a bit of notice. Number two, according to the Home Office guidelines, before you deport someone or remove someone, the person have to be given the right to access to justice, access to a lawyer, access to seek legal advice. And therefore, if you are coming in and you are stopped and the Secretary of State or the Home Office, you don't have right to access to a lawyer, then you must insist that before anything, you need to seek legal advice and you need to speak to your lawyer first. Because if not, then you're not prepared to take maybe part in an interview. Or even if you decide to take part in an interview, if they are threatening you with removal or deportation, you have the right to insist that you seek independent legal advice. Not only that, according to the Home Office guidelines, to deport someone or to remove someone, you have to give the person at least roughly about 72-hour notice if the person is detained, or at least 7 days notice if the person is not detained. And therefore, these are some of the rights that you can invoke. It's very, very important that we understand this. Let's take a commercial break. Let me get some water to drink. And then when we come back, then we will continue the program.
Fire Live Radio, Ajandem. 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 Fire Live Radio,
Medafo, we yamanka, wow, dime papa be our Ghana na. And so a nam no cry asantino. Who send ya will bet manisika, say yes, what you mount. It's in a yenny paradise city. Ya did this beautiful ultramodern city. Apatema, Community 25. Whoop standard, executive, semi-executive quality buildings. Yenny paradise city. Ye will home out. It's as ye dear brochure abagana antino. Ye payment terms no so. And a phone book call. Who penny self finance. And as a monkey for Paradise City. Oh, your telephone numbers is UK +447 908 475 802. Paradise City. Ye Juma pa Magana yefe ankasa.
That God has a covenant with you. Therefore, you shall never be put to shame.
Onyada for how any say and a wooing. Justice and law solicitor said, Bomadiana brand and your mumedi home como, Umbema a futu, Nasay idea say to one more, Umbe bow no to one more. A immigration and answer nationality problems. Say a student application, family independent application. So pass it now, Kroma, and now lawyer bino jina one name or court amount. Personal injury claims. Say employment, landlord and tenant issue or housing issue. Family and divorce issues. Drafting legal document, will writing, renting and leasing shop, lease extension. Obina juicy cannot persuade them out. Any unia kawakuma to him now how you na to a trap. But what any justice and law solicitors for Nkasa. 07538969589 and I say 0207-738-5841. Bamodiana Fred Justice and Law Solicitors na ye kwanya ye be faso ye be boa. Obehom ewo Unit 35B Eurolink Business Center 49 Efra Road Brixton SW21BZ. Like I say we have Victoria Line to Brixton. Bars 2 3 37 415 432 689 and 690. Siwa St. Andrew's Church Pastor. Sempa Emra Samudia baby here any justice and law solicitors.
Amway a company kesiye a omode niyama pa abedwa so. Omo niyama ni be a health product, beauty product, and a home care product. Omo health product ni be a vitamins and as a food supplement. Beauty products ni be enso omo wo enku and as a mana ebema wo honam atoso already atoso sen no me. Omo home care products ni be samana yedi huhuru kukuo mu ni yedi twitwi adwaye and emu de wo pe bia no ubetimi enya bi ewo Amway se upe emu nsamatie anase upe bi ato a yesre se fre owura Emmanuel Eshon ewo 075 076 30487 075 076 30487 and also so say abelfo amansanten tan kese no so ubehunu o machira kwan ewo www.amway.co.uk/user/ms na ofre owura Emmanuel Eshon and also so say wutuns ansa eko amansanten tan kese no so wo website no so a omani ubedi nkita ho fefefe eno na owura Emmanuel Eshon beka cho say ende na onanyen Amway a company kesiye a omode ni ma pa abedwa so omode ni product and a home care product.
this part of the program, I think it's important that maybe I change my dialect into our local dialect, or one of our local dialect, which is the Twi language. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because this area of law affects a lot of Ghanaians living in the diaspora. Last week, we talked about it. I've had a lot of feedback. Anna Akobebia, we share now to pay. It has reached over 5,000 people only on Facebook, YouTube, so, and then Musa, and then for Shana Eshe, phone calls are many back, any encouragement are many back, you know, very, very positive. And I thank you all for sharing the program. Madam Josephine Owusu, baby, I will be a chia. Entina as a person change me told Nick Akra because now I say I never can last week, you know. Not it be more 80, but moment me and follow. No, I'm say bro for the door son dodo. And therefore, no, yen cry na yen candy tree. Mali, be quiet. Come here. Mali, come. Okay. Nature say it be more say a coye but I want to see entina mebo ne tofa na afi ye hundie ye kan last week, you know. Now the mechanic say emrepi, you know, say utu kwan eba abrochira aya na there is expectation be say e was say ubeye bibi e wo fie na sa expectation, you know, I don't Ghana for you see a friendly project. O kan obi a na me ye bi project ana ma ye bi project ewi ma ye bi project enti project na na mrepi no se Ghana ni be kan project e wa brochire especially ohene Charles Ekrom anoma na che se eye se enipa ni sifie ana se all set business be up na mrepi no. That is always the expectation from people back home and people even in abroad. Enti obi wo hampo a sebe baby a wodampo ano odin ma no ebia obi edan ketwa twetwe pia bi ana wakwa akohyem sede ya obetimi asave sika na amanfo project ono so etimi ede aba be ye bi enti no enkakran sempoa bi a obetimi asave no na ono so ape asase bi eso de ba be ye project. Na project yi eno so ama edwuma bodam because okun ho eye adwuma enopa awia enumre save sika kakra no ese odi kwakoye bibi esifie na dachi bi mpo sebe se ukofia wanya baabi edi uti ayede ato na aya na fofie anto ata sometimes we ase so na yoma hodo odi wani ba akoto obi so ebi a ebusuani ebi ososo a wadamfo so ana aye bibibi kakra bi a ewo ho no eno ntina eba ne sana oye adwuma na odiska kofie woye lucky a yetimi to asase to wo ebi kinso na me fa ne krensie osi ma menwene me hu ma mi adwoae oso okoye asase kra ya nto bi ansi ni wo ni sika ina ye blow amano eto nkrofo debia saususu na sebe nyame wadom na asase ni mpo ye tobi si wa na se ye tobi to wa ubeye savings kakra na wabraba wo bo nyina ere de wo ye nyina no ane efie na wo si no if krom wa sebe organic meat kra wonya bi ntonwe okwa ade efo 3 4 5 enkase nko amodin bi ani amanfo eto enampapa bi wi na enyom body no na wo de sebe enkuko furu wo so be gu fridge wo vi na no pa wi na numre wi na anajo on the basis sebe so save ska eye de edi esi ufie ewi wan hweyi wo be wi bones sa na fofi anto ata na de wu atokro mu ano efie ne soso a ebikwa na wani ankwanko huda obi setewa osofa na ewuo no ana meji ne de seska bi so na de kogu Ghana obi ka sofa na ewuo no obra me hwesi de esi diska na wo bra ye nyina no wenya so emfaso bia na obi na eba be enjoy o sweat anu nti no aya na akontum wo akontum a wasem o ya pa eja ko ni mo e ka asem bi o se obi bi bo abrochire a anasa akontum na se wote Ghana pe bibi mane no sano ka ye enti no ama na ye tough ama akontifo enti sometimes no so kwata asase mpo a ehon sensem pi omo amata asase a ye di o musika eripa ne to asase ma 10p ade bechi watua ka wie no osasase ne kra no mi na ntobi mbeju musika no kwakoto mo bi 20p no do 10p we ye lucky a wo de ama wan ye lucky a osisika no ma meta metua ma o de kwa ban mu a ene o de 1p ekina o de 2p by the time obe wie sika ne obe tue sika ne kra wie no na chese bibia ase na wa se sika no enti eyade a eha adwene pa anu nkoda nchen obi osusu wa settle trap okwa no de asase e akokyerew otua asase e ka wie a o stati se wo ya adwuma no akafa langas ababa behunhun enti se unye bold na anye kokuroduro ni a obeka se wo mpa asem enti be ko se eja asase e hu asem dia fam sika ma me mpe bi na wa ni tua sika so kodi osofu bo mu ese eye collectioner ese ababak ese ababak enu nti no ubo so sika na akwa akoshi obetwe na no okwa Ghana wedi na enasen they know this in advance and they can see say yeah you walk onto some of us are vulnerable. It is what down our ground or person take advantage of you. Because waba Ghana so the neko quarter na dwini mu no obeka chose Ghana the case ko quarter ana ene echina ye postpone 2 years na ye nkan wi enti say ye nkan wi ya de bia nti betwa plane ticket abana sa plane ticket no say free case ne 5 times na say utwa ticket £1,000 5 times a enye 5,000 ade na omfa bi nso so na sankoto asase foforo me aka asase mu di ahye wa dwenem me pese manipulative de ekoso Ghana no de to so biem what asase no kra da wu si dan no bi foforo aba say asase ne ye ne dia na oni de oto asase ne ma wakwa ye kanana na ompeso omutwi wudi ebi okra so nya kokofa police officer no so ebi a oye corrupt no so se hihye na funu mu na oyo mu dirty work ma wo mu adansi krumufo no msa kofa wo mu no ma begina no mu omu so etu jegum enti wuni Ghana wa na chese yesisi wa na no na last week me ma ye ya wese Ghana law no eso make provisions eso se wuni ho employer you can appoint an attorney and na me kire mu se mempe obi a oye educational fool nemo mpe obi okita wisdom hwe obi wa wako school sa so ni common sense ba pe obi a oni mfie nyansa obi a na dwene mu edo ene obi a na dwene mu oha money power of attorney ene so o ma manipa tu said ye ya ombeti agine mama atwe o manso ama na aya nom se manso nye manso eye pa because manso expressment na ho ema obi embu bekwasia ayo tembe dia shia dwum se manso nye manso emfri wiase da because manso no started with heaven ana abasa so enti edie na kire se manso esu betwa manso esu entwa da tie no de yemfa nhye ya dwere se manso so esu entwa da de ya ene na yesusu no ewo se ye ya famudie na se obi edi nsemhunu a ye take nipa ne on it's not about say o ko follow ya ne board o ko follow ya ne board because se meni wo ya take stand na sanyema na enkrofo ede ye enkrofo wo Ghana no omo anwura omo dwirimu se oti abrochire empo a ubetimi atwe manson pepepepa de bia om de beye me and it is a upobi am not drafted power of attorney amawa. For when it say justice and law solicitors as ye be drafted be a comply with Ghana law. Now last week here kasano ye the examples of cases ebemu where obiti Germany on man mother-in-law power of attorney as a on chimanson e wone dan homa no na mistake a ebemu ni say power of attorney no man drafting ye and I say omo executing ye eno na ekofa problem brain nipa no enti bibi san say wo ya pe obi a Ghana law no nimu a ote ase to say lawyer Darko, I'm here dual qualified. I am qualified in Ghana, I am qualified in the UK. So I speak with authority. Yanom sano oba, you said the Ghana law no requirement any procedure. To say you drafted document biamawa, you drafted the pepe said you call Ghana and remwa. A bit dim, a bit jinem, now also asumajo. And tisana etie. And to the mechanic say, Mama obi emfan chewa ginim say oti abrocha wuntimi ntwe manson unless say una umpeso betwe manson no na manson de anya de bone because it's about principles yentina ho ematem bia no enkrofo emfa se kan enya nanka edu ba bia we need to stand up, we need to step up, and where the tree falls there shall it lay until the judgment day take its course. Enti de metimi aka no eneno no pese medi dwumadie no ebe na wieye na no ebe na wieye no soso no se utimi to asase na oye de na ese wusikio. It's always safer to buy a registered land. Landa ya register the land registry woni penidin eno no se wo to a se bansun bi eda ho a uhu ni intentem. Se problem wo ho a uhu ni intentem. Unregistered land and no dear o kwakoto dia ye wadwene say you are going to encounter problems because enipa no sankensem ni ho anko register na ade enti se o kwakoto asase na so dia kro to na sesem kirewa unim ne tintim ni tete ma ne say ka che nipa ne say do you know something? I am interested in the land, but before I purchase it, before I give you the money, go and register it. Once you finish registering it, come back to me and I will give you your money. Period. So when you register, not just say asem down. Name so so taking risk no, ni register na beto dia. Be prepared. I say nipa no toma wana no, obetra say odo befejim. Name stand steady. Be strong and be tough. Come to justice and law. We will draft the power of attorney for you. You give it to someone with wisdom and you take the person on. Be piaso wo ye bia no keep records. Say ode adene mana gene bank transfer. Say de ya ubenya receipt. Ana ebe ya transfer ko nipa na account men transfer ko third party account. Make sure say if possible get lawyers involved in Ghana. Lawyers same ko na betua wo mo. It will save you headache in the future. Believe in me. Because you kromo akoye kura no kure ni wo. Ne kwere pa efe ne kure ebi ni kromo no mo. Obia epo bi ebu no. Obi epo bi esisi no. Enti se wote abrochira fashion wadwene mu sa because omu nyawa omu spell eno de eye fact. Because krono obi ayehye. Ana obi epo bi ebu de kwase ya. Ono obi kasa no kasa jimidi ahwe ni pani ye. Because jimidi yemfa nko heaven. Enti sana etie. Enti yebibie amatrofo no so atum na afi no ya take some phone calls.
Sunset,
the number is 07538 969 589. So, oh, question be a opese ubusa, and I say opese o contribute to the program na yaye nena, and ye ubetini afre abesi number iso. Ye twam phone calls. Your 15 minutes pe. And you know say when to me fresh CCR dia. Na 15 minutes neba ye vi offer yadi betimi afa atwa program ni so off air. And mesre mo say opese offer na ubusa question. And now say o contribution be opese o make to the program na also so ubetimi idea afre. About 130 pepe ye di dwumadie no eba na wie. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Lawyer Dako.
Yes, good afternoon to you. I'm Pacho Di say na kase free.
Within the British accent, Scotland.
Hey, British accent na Ababeland no. British accent, good morning to you. I hope say ohoye ebusuafo ne so ehoye. Scotland, munyina so ohoye. Glasgow, we hope that you are all deep winning, right? Okay. So what do you have for us today? British accent? Glasgow? Mrs. Somi, what Glasgow accent?
Don't worry, I come from Glasgow. I just arrived London today.
Good afternoon to you.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you for your wonderful words. And that's a what be a billion so what moody to left and right. Oh my God.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No problem at all.
Thank you. My question me person me bisa say. So we were indefinite leave to remain na card na ye the amount be expire 2024 December. Me fan say me person me ye naturalization. Na my young woman in the area and ya go through. Na me ya. One be mama use card until that time na say me ya woman the British passport in the be mama na me use.
Okay, so your application for naturalization still no ubetimi use card. Nemum say naturalization, you know, once it is approved, then what the Home Office says, they say within a reasonable time, no, you need to return the card for destruction. The reason is by law, no, British citizens, almost fingerprint must not be retained by the state, unless they say they have committed a criminal offense. And therefore, it's for security purposes. And so a citizen now committing a crime, the government does not have any right to keep your data, fingerprint, any iris scan. And you know, all they call back, then they will destroy it. That is the current law. And you know, there was a timer. Now, we introduce compulsory national identity card where people's individuals' fingerprint and data will be kept by the government. A criminal say, ahanye Europe, ahanye police state. We have our civil liberties. And therefore, empenechina, international ID card, no for masevunko. And the criminal for us original. And there is a difference between the UK and the European Union. So we do Europe, ye bo wudi our address in Abaso. But a criminal bedroom airport, ye bo wudi me bo address him. Just on a catch and you're part of your right to privacy. But in Europe, they are watched 24/7 if they want to watch you closely. And therefore, you are right to privacy. In a way, it's limited, it's tarnished. So, But in terms of civil rights and civil liberties, the UK, Massa, number one. We have certain rights in which the state cannot interfere with, and that include applying for British passport and becoming a British citizen. Enti ne kromwa obi atimi kana dwene saa no. Untimi nya ni tew obeka na dwene because you're a British citizen. E dey na betimi aye no. So enti no the reality is say from 1st of January 2025 card ne kra ye use. Enti sa physical card ni etwam anyway. Enu nti na obi a man indefinite kra no ya tro so expiry date 31st of December 2024.
Okay.
Enti no say unya British citizenship me argument am here ni say unya card no na the card no ekọ without having British passport. Sometimes you know how do you prove to someone your right to be in the UK? And it's difficult. And to my clients, this is what I do for them. I make sure that they get their British passport. And once they get their British passport, we return the card to the Home Office. And that is what I will suggest.
Okay. Okay.
I hope that my answer question number.
Yes.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank
you. Glasgow phone na.
Yeah, better catch a woman now. Be so Betty.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye. Se opese ofra ososo ubetimi afre number no eye 07538969589. Ya twam. Yes. Yes, you were 9 minutes near the Juende Ebony. Yes, Opesa Fre and Ensama ye can ye. Any day young cancel question BBB at Tewa. Also, ubetimi idea afre ebusa. Opesa betimi typo egu comment section on Facebook. Na afe no yetimi edi enososo abremo by all means. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, lawyer.
Hello, good afternoon to you. Nampacho din de senaka se free.
Oh, me patrol your friend Nanaya, and I'm a free Kent.
Nanaya from Kent, and a way Yami Enshrow, so also waiting young fre. Na a dear bit me, I am on Nana.
Oh, yeah, me patrol. Na British passport, ne foreign passport, and one seminal. And now, Missy me be such a near Ukra passport, me it's a British passport and a Ghana passport. And then near apply for dual citizenship. No, dear Hina,
I mean,
I said negative side and a positive side.
I mean, this whole idea of dual citizenship, no, obikaye, a fallacy, it's an illusion. Personally, I don't buy that. Ghana Constitution actually say, "O mami, anasa o papa, eye Ghanaian. Automatically, you are Ghanaian."
Okay.
And also, if you are holding a Ghanaian passport, in order for them to give you the Ghana passport, you have to be what? You have to be a Ghanaian. Enti adentina menkwaje sa dual citizenship certificate to prove say me a dual national. Sem kita British passport na medina was within the details ni the same. Nem kita Ghana passport na details ni the same. By implication, me a British, I'm also a Ghanaian. And therefore I am dual national. And therefore I don't have to go and do a card to say I am dual national.
Okay.
Because the passport will allow me to pass through ports. And for example, some kita Ghana passport don't become Malaysia. I don't need a visa because Ghana is visa free to Malaysia. Same kita dual national card now. Meet me from for somebody come Malaysia. Because it is not used to passport. You see the point? So passport is to help you to pass through ports, either seaport, airport, and land port, whatever the port may be. And personally, that dual citizenship card, I will not bother. I'd rather do a Ghana passport. If you are going to Dubai and you are holding Ghana passport, visa free. You just show it and you go in. If you are holding your British passport, if you are coming back, hey, I'm British national. That's it. Because you are allowed to interchange your passport to travel. And it's for convenience and also it will save you money. Say open Schengen visa and pass it through Europe. And yet easy the headache. Obey your application, so we your appointment in po. And up your fingerprint for them to give you the passport, to give you the visa. And say baby a qualifier man just do it. Oh, obiwa whatever. Or say, oh, now some of your passport ne boarding, me yen to quite go baby. After I make us say £150 and I say £200 to do a Ghana passport. Some mindset, personally, I find it difficult to understand. Say, oh, your grandpa passport here saying, what do you find say passport here £150? Or yeah, under 18 passport, when this is issued, it's issued for 5 years. And the infant's passport is £200 or krana. And 5 years really each year biana is only costing you £40. So emergency beer banner so coffee. Now we could take it. Now when you have visa amount krana. Now can get a British passport on Kwan. Take it, same kind of bitria. And you more than £140 at £200 now bitria. And the Argentina yes calculations way in a long term say boy. That's all the time. We don't want to spend money to do things. It baffles me. Me metie hey me ma young me won ma say me call Ghana commission say me call me my passport. Ma me ne hwe me sa na ene mo e say me ba be ye me ma Ghana passport am. I say, are you sure you want to do Ghana passport for them? I said, why not? Are they not Ghanaians? Am I not Ghanaian? Because they are mixed race, so the person wasn't thinking, so why should they do Ghana passport? Yeah. But how to educate the person? Obi in fact bibi beti me sifie sisi ya. Enti a wase me ba kwa afi na me sa ko visa na. Afi na me ko akodi queue so ana. Ade na me nyento opreko. Na bibi ba de ye kwa eno ase ja kwabna yenko kwabna jima yenko eno ase kwabna jima fa ne passport na ye kwa ye baby. Enya afi na ye kwa akwa hustle akwa visa.
Okay.
So
because normally no me call us here ko Ghana na you British passport any Ghana passport but na your visa because me say ubetumi a change uko Ghana now the Ghana the ko uba now the British the number until me sa the program we na share me say you kwa ye visa ansana.
Yes, and you're visa free. You see, there was a confusion about this. And the case went before the Supreme Court of Ghana, and the Supreme Court clarified the issue. I said, we are Ghanaian by birth, you are Ghanaian. And therefore, why should you need a dual citizenship card to be able to come to Ghana? And your fallacy, no. So, it's Ghana Immigration Services on website. It is there. It is written there. I said, you can interchange your passport. Yes, it to me that. Now me call Ghana 2014. Now lucky. Now me kita my British passport and Ghana passport at the time. Now me show me Ghana passport na ka be about a week. My passport now expire. It be drew am the chire you know. And an airline they say they don't accept a passport that has got less than 6 months. And you know, all my being through play you know. And when I'm swinging, I have a British passport here. I've got 8 years left. Also, if that is the case, yeah, I will use your British passport to check you in. And no, they say for me. Can you say come on yes? Oh, Timmy Drew Ghana one I'm saying yeah, Kunya, me dem Ghana passport to check me Ghana. I don't need a visa to come to Ghana because I'm a Ghanaian. No question. And I'm real.
Okay.
Oh, and you know, a bit save you headache, a bit save you ska. into we are wofo na se wuti kromu a media I will encourage every parent to do it because emrepi no ade na ejigon no na ye halo ya da kwa adwene or feel no sabe ma pressure ana lawyer di mo bia ana lawyer say ana lawyer say ana lawyer say so ebe ne say na e unnecessary one what na one what create this situation no enti na ye bo ho dawru ne no because masum dwumo a miss masum adwumi o ye easy your phone do baby I was switch oh no problem your phone do baby so switching off before you become a bit of sane because people drive you insane some of the things are ebi mo de ba yanim enti abesre mo ye mo ye homodin na yeso yentimi enye ya fambu de enye ska bia na edi bantima ba for the kan ye obi sika she obi botom ti where you need to spend to get a passport no spend and get it, it will save you a lot of headache in the long run. Nana ya chao ya damasipi for calling.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yes, well, afraid I went to me and room. The number is 0753896959. You have 1 minute near the Jumadi, but the way Sunday, you know, justice and law, and I did Jumadi every way. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, lawyer.
Hello, that's saying.
Pacho Yamiadumo, Pacho Way.
Nyankopon Adam. Yes, Yadamase for your continued support. Now, Pacho didn't say Nakase free and I feel shoot you.
Me Pacho Medina.
Na, free. Na, a dinner between I am.
Pacho, we say, oh, in Kala, you won't Kala too, but Omobe Munche last year, no by Omo biometric, no. Indeed. As you said, no sister expands and I met me apply British passport now after 5 years. And
a bit depending the type of visa or the big room. And it's what me kind the type of visa nature me not met me account time frame.
Indefinite leave to enter.
Okay. So indefinite leave to enter 5 years.
Okay. Into I know no I was saying me naturalization and more.
Okay. 5 years time, no be in saying.
5 years time. I go 13, I go to 11.
Okay. Till the only 13, on back room how many years in here?
Last year, Penomobile.
Last year, Penomobile. In terms of your calculation, because either say penny, 5 years time from time mobile, either say we did 18 and I say Okwa could did 18. From rough calculation, I may, say only did 18 and send a 5 years now, but I also a life in the UK test and the English test. Or no, a naturalization. Name say 5 years number, na say only ni 18 na. In terms of your calculation, na yes sure. And your 5 years name by na me ma de enche so. Now why dey? Why be a registration? Because rules they say registration the person have to be between 0 before 18. And it's like 2 days simple. Now say we di 18 na yen intended. Say they are onko di 18 na onko your life in the UK test the English test no. And it's fees in boarding.
Oh, okay.
But they make what you say.
Registration
I know for children is the same as naturalization. But a year and crying, Home Office charge 1,033 pounds. But so you be a penina, almost charge 1,330 pounds. And you have to do life in the UK test and English test. It's another boarding and a criteria and so no test and be cost of money. And it's a calculation obedi di 4 years 9 months na no shall say prepare wo. Enti onye di 5 years ne pepepepe so onye ni 18 na ade chance wa na de application atum
okay.
Said the year by the time obedi 18 no na application ni dem dada e ba ne sa na or the atum before say oba be yem panyini. Enti therefore no be ntimi nya ne hwe. Enti no you be given naturalization certificate or registration certificate as a minor now or they apply for British passport. And I get one so the only problem no or the 5 years time can still here under 18 and to wait me I'll apply for registration as a British citizen. But what you say? And to tell me
the registration I say me bana we am me ho.
I say obana eja lo dark miss minya enkwan kakrasa so I obi sika should be botum. He say me sika be show botum. Enti eso yi mame so sana etie enti na yeda wasipi enti very important and I'm very happy say Sebio utie program yi na wodwene o ma ho sometimes they send to me na parents no seriously sometimes I Ghana pa e bia kan beto me nsa mano de sumina so because mitimi hu nsem ni bi o na makoma me say what e die pa na e how ana watena ho a wodu ba brosa e bitimi tina ho ema emuma paper sem ye basa na onu kita British passport na o tu kwan na okọ na oba sisi ameka se minim kra bia omo nkasa o ma me ho because omo se o ma me di o ma bro Accra so kita British passport afi no di 2.5 years so on a 10-year route o de hweska pra ne be say 2.5 now home office fees in is about £3,000 now as I go renew £3,000 and by the time I'll be renew 4 times no I want to acquire 12,000 and send out your application for indefinite another 3,000 15,000 what about a crana boka share the stress of going through why is supposed to cry my na say akrane to na say on kaso ma me ho a obi ti wa o say o abrochire nkura akrane to no on kaso eyawo na de be sha akra ni mu enti cow food sika ye didi no any benefit child benefit aye gia ni edi ye yanum no e say hu se anye dia wo is for the children if anything afaye bibi ma akra no secure the child's future oko kan e bi agalai ade na wo ka se ubedi oba brode ene lo ada ko meka ama time because oba de be ya tutu bottom ni na se bi okodi boni bia na so ye Ghana ni ba eni po de boni ni ye no obeka se Ghana fo nye se me kwa pa adwuma na nipa ni ye boss wo no bisa se me free na mka se me ye Ghana ni a ofi se de ba adwene no badwena fa me ho enti no aya empanimfo se bi onyansani enka se yaka minua me de anyame a na emom nyansani se yaka minua o se de yaka ye because of nua so awo ba so enti no aya emrepi no ye mo ye ho modern especially se de kraba kromu a anase wo nkra wo kromu a at all cost we must secure their future obitiwo ne ba passport kra wonye he cannot be bothered passport he say less than £100 but obenye ska e de akwakoto cow food ene momone awie gu ne yem kawuro kra can the same po omo dibi and another name for it it's got no nutritional value and so be corrections akoto die wu na wasa na wachie niti owi a wawi ne kawuro owi a wasa other goda na wabagu so na ne battle na onye ne paper why you will be all the time. You can say dear Betche. Nah, you don't see me. For calling. Right. Bye. Bye. Yeah. You may dear no. Every say time no. Yeah. Asombro so. Na man for so friend efre. Enti dear ye for time bi kan won. Na ye nko kotetu. Enti also ubetimi afre. Ramsey Brew. Or say what if your child is 10? What can you do? If your child is 10, the child was born in the UK, you can register the child as a British citizen. So you cry for any registration, so a penny for any naturalization. Nina esiwa. And it's already 10, that's when you chromwa, you bet me naturalize akrano amount. And now says I win you chromwa, Nasa wabe chroma will come more than 7 years of his life or her life. And also so you bet me the application for 5 years leave for the child. Under the private route, and also so home office I introduced recently, and also so you bet me idea ISA application now. Say answer a question na betimi afraid the number na edidi dwuma no 07538 969 589. Your extended time no to 1:45 enti ofra yebeje wo so. Mo amofra mo ntimi ngwe mu nyina no. This is the opportunity to get in enti etwa. So Abigail Jolly asking a question. Is an EEA extended family still allowed if you and the person has relationship before December 2020? Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Can I speak to you? Can I come to the program?
Yes, you are live on the program.
Yeah, I want to speak to the lawyer. Please.
Go ahead, sir. You can speak.
Hello.
Go ahead, sir. You can speak. You are live on air. You are on the program.
Good afternoon, lawyer.
Good afternoon to you.
Yeah. Lawyer, who are you about?
Hey, that's saying. Okay, I just watching. Just say. I read, you know, just also switching it off on. I will take free telephone. So there is a delay in transmission.
Watch it for himself.
Okay, now and I didn't with me. I am on a job watching.
Hello, lawyer.
Yes, a job watching. Didn't with me. I am on.
Yeah, lawyer. We me chama abu abato. And wow, and a lawyer me man crap. A message passport. But they will me the book appointment number now the more.
Okay, and your big deal. And you know, make us a free office Monday. Me pacho P. Now you
office Monday.
I need book appointment in my way.
Okay.
But that was it.
I'm
a hoover.
Okay.
Right, you take care. Eddie Besaka said him.
Okay, bye.
Okay, but that was it. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, now you okay. Sister Bako, I say EE extended family members still allowed. What has happened? They say, unfortunately, the answer is no. Because what has happened, they say, under the withdrawal agreement, you know, UK, they have limited the definition of a family member. The definition of a family member is a spouse and direct children and a parent. That is it. And it is a way extended family member under the old EU regulations. Untimi enquire application. The bema application do betimi dia but yen fama sana etie enti your sister Abigail Jolly sana etie enti what I will say and say obi no bi relationship mu dia e be a boyfriend girlfriend na so mo worry dia and you betimi the number under British law, which is appendix EC1 of the immigration rules. And the answer a no. Vivian Blay, or say the number again, please. Number 07538 969 589. And it is a share comment section or a form hanoma ma pin at the abohonomo ubetimi ayede ubetimi ashe. And sana etie. And yes, by all means, ubisu ubetimi afre. Time you be aka hon to 45 past. And it's so person will frere, and this is the time to call. Yes, sir, it's soon 45 now. You did you know everybody may be. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon. Pacho did the same like free.
Pacho, you're from
Nana. Nana, okay, free, Nana.
Me Pacho, make us free. Pacho. Me Pacho, make us free shop share.
Hey, it did means me more. Oh, the uncle, why?
Pacho, dear, because I put out as a lawyer. Say, I be a Korawo Krumu Hasi. Oh, yeah, British. Now, ne other parents, I fancy be a ne papa. Ewo Ghana. Now, or per se, or ma ni parents never joining na. Or ya bofrano, or writer na. So to me, my parents never joining.
Okay. There used to be a visa that they call it dependent adult relative that you could have applied. Say oba a British ewo kromwa na wote Ghana opese oba kromwa betena ha na wo hwe oba. There was a visa of that nature some time ago. Let me say 2012. Omo bringing changes, you know. Ana omo ye de omo yi sa policy no sa law no e free mu. Na ebeye difficult kakra in the sense say obi e bakromu for settlement. Ayana UK for no e wo view be say there have to be a very good reason as to why papa no eso betina kroma no hwe ne ba. And right now no what we have is something called adult dependent relative. So you can look at that angle. Now service and in theory no it is there. Oh yes so omo family pa no. And you know a visa personally I will not encourage you even to try it. Nebom se papa no etimi bedru kromu ade a na so etimi demonstrate say he is involved in a child's life in that respect under Article 8 of the European Convention of Human Rights. Ubetimi your application amanatna or outside the crown you can still do an application under Article 8 but Ayana Home Office take a dim view, especially if there is another parent in this country. And whilst it on paper is possible, but the practicality of it, they say, OS application and Home Office tend to be difficult. They tend to frown on such application. And personally, I would prefer say, and can nipa will fight it there. The better way of fighting such a case. And Hano, a becker cran mibu, Papa no, Kruma no fight it there. Enti obetimi aba krom a yemfa ne se wo de menka se wo yemfa ton na meye na ma no ankochia amobi amfa ma ankoto asem yemfa ne se we e kasako ne abebuo yemfa ne se lo yada akome meti yen mene oba bia wo oba ne wo Ghana akra na bakrom a as a British citizen enti me nkwa me ho kire me ebia maame no so afi ne ba opese obesra ne ba enti mama no enkrata esem de supporting application obesra ne ba wa bakroma so oba besra ne ba obesra ne ba wiye no ebia se say de your circumstances are changing enti your circumstances are changing no se so obese otene kromu a na onso timi hwe ne ba enti article 8 no actually say the by British no so hwe ne bi na say ebeye unreasonable to go back there. And yes, man in Christ no dey try kromu a. Eti me sure say e asem sebe what him say.
Nature say oba as a visitor rana after 6 months no. But to me you too e dey here dey working.
Say oti kromu a na so buy a British a Ovise wu you, with me, I was a gin crater. Hello?
Okay.
Aha, but that's what I was.
Matthias.
Aha, because who say, Oko or Hinenima. So, Casaya or Hinitio, and Susanna Nachiami, as I repeated the whole canoe. Aha, and not enter se huntia. Said the H.B. Biamim. And to the mechanic, I was a mechanic, sir. Said you be from Echo to us in sanity, but I see peace what you must say. Hello. Hello. Ejuma Nampa Chodi the same akase free.
The friend George Darko.
Hey, George Darko pa, I don't know what na bonyo na.
Papa B.
Sao. Equity brofo.
Equity brofo.
Sao.
Rosemary baby I will be a shiki mecha wo.
Hey, Papa we don't know. That's right.
My positive yet baby I should be you're good. Eloya me pacho me bi shakakra me pacho she o for
Yankwe, George Darko. Yes. Yeah, no. We're going to legal show celebrities a fresh what a George Darko. That's right.
Like a DJ.
That's right.
You're liar. Me pacho a brass or person if you feel or your application at the same time to me as also the British citizen nationality or naturalization as a British passport application so at the same time. Pacho
ebe yes sir because two different angles and a case in an echo. First okay. Na and Kaibeka say oh be because of problem because if you can be here or passport. But they said here, oh, nationality now, they will simply scan it and give your passport and your BRP card back to you. So now, okay. Oh yeah, application, ama omukeni, amnaba become ewukrumu anama, and also so no, omo ayede, almost scan it, no side wadi amount. And there is nothing stopping you, and you know, by all means, ubetimi.
Okay, now, second question, me pato, when you question pen. Around 2016, Anna was at that IVA, so and no, what do you call it? IVA, individual voluntary arrangement.
Yeah.
As well. And also, a bit me asked to have a British passport.
A bit dependent. Caution I can't one seminar. And no, your free BB Rehabilitation of the Offenders Act. Say a caution. Na say caution no 3 years eba etwema. Ayana ye say it is deemed to be spent until for the purposes of naturalization. Enisa ye use against you.
Okay.
And it say okoye DV D criminal record check in the cranabu say unhunu also. Just why the detailed DBS and Abihuno enhance exactly.
Basic one there. Basic one there.
Yes, sure. I prepare for you. And Tisana etie. And 3 years ichema. Offenses be to say caution, reprimand, non-suspended sentence, imprisonment, non-custodial sentencing, and a fine. Say 3 years ichema. For the purposes of naturalization, you don't need to worry about that. The second aspect now kind of a IVA, involuntary arrangement. And a good say you can disclose it because you have not been made bankrupt. So when you are filling the forms now, when it comes to additional information, I think say disclose it and justify it because you have taken the initiative to clear your debt by coming to an arrangement with your creditors, and therefore you should be given a credit rather than being, criticized for entering into it. And you set out the circumstances, said the case where cannot say because when it comes to character testing, they will look at all this, they will take all this into considerations. And like I say, you have to disclose it and explain how it came about and what you have done about it. So sometimes on a naturalization, like I said, is a privilege. Utimi qualify, yes, ye farmer. Obitiwa on Tiasie. Mohammed Al Fayed or qualify for British passport, yes, ye farmer. Because you saw Coco bribe MP. So more. And so Nimia or Nimia no apply Yedimano anti-naturalization. And yes, rules ni wo what take all the boxes na Yedibema. Debbie. And when it comes to naturalization, I na ehun be here. I said that nipa na oye application no obe have persuasive skills. Hwe enema bi ho no ma yede wo. Enema bi ho so ayesua. Enti na nyansa nko ana adwere nko no. So ade bi ho no ma obi ho a onim se de si kasa ankasa. Obeti ya kasa convince so okunipa kra na obehuni mobo de beche no. Obi ososo a onim kasa tembia no na lead to problems. And on this note, what I was saying is yes, ubetimi aya application oba justice law asue ya yesika aba be show botum uyima ya yebeje naturalization so ama
Midisa musika be show botum na enye de ti boto ni bia
David yesika de e paper ni bia enye coins
enye coins nkwa na ti boto
sa
musa ko post office ya post one letter cry ma the two scales so now the caliber of weight we letter no paper there one say just one sheet finishing so still there's a fat way so
we justice and law the last week social program now amount of law society say lawyer dark main charge for every hour no I charge 1/5 of that amount share minimum Ghana for omako baby sika ye je wo mo no enye sika ketwa.
Yes.
Oba ya me charge ni less no. Osaka chem sem minti so. Ema na damfo ne ba ni bufu no. Ese masa ye ko asuma esi ho no. Oso obeji wo sei anka wo yi ama na metia wo na so. Ese ye nkolo ya da ko obeji wo less than that. Enti adenti na mede wa ba na o charge wo less than that. Na wo sabe gu mani mase. Ade na ayesa. Many more. Mr. Free from Mitchell ready now. What the years are there? Or Nadamfo, okay, or what it man, many.
Yes.
So, because I sometimes, yes, Obianua, unya dear, for ompe. But I am careful so because I dear for people, in the long term, anybody, you'll be surprised. Oh, at the session, you're going to cry, yedi. Obiti krumwa oko KFC na akoto chicken na wato gari na wato shito aguso onyata mokra ma ne ho otibasi no okikambo nudi how
where remes appear to
eno chese yeduane ayeni o but eyese udi healthy food because one hwe yie na de bia di poor food one day no akofa yare bia to ho so na se sika na wo bre ya pre egu wonyi nyina no wo se use se sika no e bia san wo ho yare e de na wo kwa anase wo ba masa serious enti edidiem ye get very careful etiefo because at the end of the day no yes sir
Nepacho maybe se kakra wife dey na say o kofa ba watching the address recently na fancy be 2 weeks kra my and I say enye month kra na o still am obetimi proceed application no.
Yes, we proceed. We just need to explain you are just move an address to a bigger accommodation possibly to be able to accommodate your wife and for you to feel free when she comes over. And you're not there in country. Why?
Okay. Matina me pacho na me person can me book appointment na
Menfre Monday and I say cabbage my
the patrol say ofre Monday Dari no and na me hu sisi a na me ko bom di ko ka time bi ni date bi a anhwa ne no bi aba be clash
Ariana kutwa kwashia man say
exactly and then me say adaje susu eni poso we a lawyer your life is controlled by your clients once BBS gidi na so utu hu anamo enti ana sometimes na e dey my enti se mo for office na bubuku a aya eboaye e wo kwan pi so
okay
yeah that was it.
Let's make that sepa. Now me pacho last question.
Yes.
Me pacho on the British application now. When they almost busa about previous visa, is it about the first visa unya nkruma and answer entry clearance or
I for all the visa applications that you have applied, including entry clearance. And for example, the visitors visa they buy, I was a watcher. Let's say ABA 2000. I applied for visitors visa. It was successful. I came to the UK. I applied for student visa 2021. 2022, I applied for spousal visa. 2023, I applied for indefinite. TSO stating
okay, and immediate refuse
yes. What try a ye? Adentina a ye. Aya a boa case worker no emani speedy up. And I aware say Obi also will via Obi identity and the baby apply for naturalization. And all these are security measures which the Secretary of State have put in place. And tiaba no they are cross-checking information on what no say it make sense. It make sense and here issue their many panel. Because as I speak to you, Obi buy my application man. Near Kofane Jere any metu aba. Home Office a refusal application, which I was shocked. Now me repeat me ready refusal letter no. The more can say me client no akofane ma ene ne yere na badada. Enti ade no so akofo ma ba. Say na obi awia ni identity e de akoye sa ade no.
Wow.
Yes, enti kroma de ehu pa.
Nase kwaku frimpon de asemaba.
O de asemaba kwaku frimpon de asemaba. Enti aba de sa no na esi
kwaku de travel so akafie.
That's right. Enti aba de sa no na che se e wo se ye de e wo se ye esi follow the app. Na Home Office for ye ne omo ye de e deali. Me client no ye friend no e ma ne ko interview at Liverpool. Na okoye no omo yi ne fa bai. Omo yi fa ne bai no na che se pictures a e woni fa mu no. Mienu ye ono ba ko nya ono a. Enti de nya ono no on na ewia ne identity. Na empanimfo se abontisufo benya wa je se efiefo apegya wonan ahwewiem. Sana etie. Enti sabo bi beka wa aye empanimfo se efi ontumam.
Na ti fi abosan tutwa wa ya se
abontiso de sana etie.
We de na soja.
That's right. Near koye name. Enti no sana etie. Enti no ne bi ho no ma ese amanfo eye careful wo ho. Because you never know. Do binya obi bia do de ba akoye. So sad, but obey the it does happen. Enti the American say a part of the requirement and as a part of the ways omodi scrutinize it and making sure say encrofo ID and from yes sign no. And yes, it's a question and a answer. Why?
Trap was on a disco, real niggas in the trap, one Tinko, no. This that second sermon brought to you by Red Blacko. Real trenches, baby, straight out of Kono Guzongo. Tap in with a god body Flico. Make you don't forget the Wallahi shake that baby though. Yeah, y'all know I only fuck with that real shit. ANTS, I'm a corny ass rappers, they bro show ass rappers. Let's go.
Niggas in the trap with plenty talking, I swear to God. Transaction in them, see Jabba, yes, say, Jam, Tia, Flap, no, so Tia, fully up on the park. Then the killer boys back 12. My friend say our front, if you're not in one, I see what I found. Martin Marine said this be the life and they live for here. Things I see with my eyes and they catch my brain one now she go stress. So I keep it down to myself. But we are not so mommy gangster, yeah. Me and my choice I am fair. Today me a be I'm aware. Silence for a minute, rest in peace to Sister Marianne. Now me my heart now. You best see I was through one day, then I go assemble. Simon Famisa, Nakaku body assemble. Kilamani assemble. Kaku body assemble. Kilabla body assemble.
Yes, na chese jumedie no ye de eba na wiye. Next week nyame ya aduma ye be sade another topic aba. Na nema ye be kan ya henyina no aya na it is inspired by the number of questions, the number of messages that we received during the course of the week. And Ayana, we also felt say doing these areas will also help a lot of people. Because MRP Adeba could be so far not will be so free the same thing. Until the whole idea is to educate the masses. No mistakes are incrofied, we don't repeat the same mistake. Meeting at the lawyer David Obendako, Justice and Law Solicitors. Iowa Unit 35B 49 Efra Road, Brixton, London, SW2 1BZ. Se upeso bi huya ubitimi afre amatru for you so. The number now is 0207 993 5976. That is our number. Sasuna ubitimi afre your mobile number so which is 07538 969 589. Yadamase medinyame eja obia. Enti next week yebesai idea ehie biem. Nyame enka obia ho, nyame enhira obia. Ye meka se program no se obi entimi anhwe bia. O de send ma no. Ebia nyame adom ebe nam wo so ama ono so enya ne fa ho die. Asumdwe enka mu nyina yadamase.
Said this be the life I they live for here. Things I see with my eyes and they catch my brain one now to go stressful. So I keep it down to myself. But be honest with my gangster, yeah. Me and the choice I am fair. See me I'm aware. Silence for a minute. Rest in peace to Sister Marianne. Now me my Alexander. You best see I was so one day. Then I go tell you my story. So which I want to know. Me stand by side and I drop it. I'm doing so many bad things, but she can't see me in my shit. Me power. I can't be my but I really lose my way. Let's say now I try you to my yellow star. Baby, I know some mamba. Baby, I know some mamba. Simon Famisa, now Kaku body assemble. Kill a money assemble. Kaku body assemble. Kill a black body assemble. Kaku body assemble. Kill a sad boys in the house. One kind who be a bounce. Now someone crown announce out of the blue ya by his loud. You can party and run the tide for the real see a fake. I do love to take you wanna fly. See I don't know the jet. Where to ride that refuge? Refuge the chain. Marijuana baby. I'm quiet to be stand. Where to ride that refuge? Refuge the chain. Now marijuana baby. I'm quiet to be stand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanna say, yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanna say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Wanna say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Wanna say. Now Kaku free body assemble. Kill a money assemble. Kaku free body assemble. Kill a black body assemble. Kaku free body assemble. Kill a money assemble. Kaku free body assemble. Kill a black body assemble.